So, who would actually win in a fight between the certifiably unhinged honey badger and the legendary Komodo dragon? Will the honey badger's special venom resistance be enough to counter that disgusting saliva of the dragon? Well, in today's showdown, I will break everything down, so even the most feeble of minds would understand. But to do so, we need to analyze 6 key battle metrics, starting off with their size differences. When it comes to size, there is a huge difference between the two. Komodo dragons are absolutely massive, growing up to around 10 feet long, and they weigh between 150 to 200 pounds. But the heaviest wild specimen ever recorded was over 300 goddamn pounds. It is pretty much a terrestrial crocodile that can gallop on land like any other small lizard. Now, compare that to the honey badger's pathetically bite-sized 2 to 3 foot-long bodies, and they also only weigh a modest 20 to 30 pounds. I know you have probably heard that size does not matter a lot, but this difference is so noticeable that it is most definitely a major factor. But as we all know, honey badgers are not really strangers to handling large predators, so I would not give up on the badger that quickly. Next up, we got armor. Now here things get a little interesting, as the honey badger, as you all know, is infamous for its thick, battle-hardened skin. Its skin is incredibly tough, especially around the neck and shoulders, where it can resist sharp, bone-crushing bites and stings from the spiky bastard that is the African porcupine. And do not ask me how they know this, but hunters and researchers have noted that even machetes have a hard time cutting through honey badger skin. On top of that, the skin is loose, letting the little demon twist and counterattack, even if something has already clamped down on it. So, it is not full-on armor like scales, but it is a flexible shield that makes the honey badger far harder to finish off than most animals its size. Now, the Komodo dragon's armor is a different story altogether. Beneath its scaly skin lies a lattice of tiny bony plates called osteoderms. These function like medieval chainmail embedded right into the flesh, giving the lizard a built-in suit of armor. This protection can turn away slashes, bites, and blunt force trauma that would tear through most other animals. But there is a trade-off, as it makes their skin heavier and a lot less flexible than the honey badgers. So while the Komodo is walking around in stone-plated armor, the honey badger is wrapped in military-grade Kevlar that stretches and bends. When it comes to offensive weapons, the honey badger is built like a compact buzzsaw. Its jaws are short but powerful, able to crunch through tortoise shells and crack bones. Basically a nutcracker from hell. Add to that long, curved claws designed for digging, and just as effective at ripping into flesh, and you have got a fighter that can dish out serious damage despite its smaller size. The badger's style is up close and relentless, biting, clawing, and shaking until the opponent gives way, often targeting weak spots like the nose, the eyes, and more notoriously, the family jewels. Now, the Komodo dragon brings a completely different arsenal. Its bite may not look as impressive at first glance, but it is delivered with massive leverage from that long skull and muscular neck. Those serrated teeth are like steak knives, designed to saw through meat and open up gaping wounds that bleed heavily. But those jaws are not its only weapon. Komodos also wield massive claws that are easily capable of disemboweling prey or shredding an opponent in a grappling match. They also use their sheer size as a weapon, throwing their weight around with powerful tail strikes and body slams. And of course, their bite has another infamous secret we will have to get into later in the video. Next, we need to analyze their mobility. When it comes to movement, the honey badger has the advantage in quickness and agility. It can hit bursts of around 19 miles per hour, and its compact build lets it twist, roll, and change direction fast. That flexibility makes it hard to lock down in an all-out brawl. The Komodo dragon, though much heavier, is not as sluggish as it looks. It can manage short sprints of about 12 miles per hour, which is fast enough to ambush prey, but it burns out quickly. Just like crocodiles, Komodos are built for explosive power, not endurance. So while the dragon can lunge with surprising speed for its size, the honey badger's stamina and agility give it more staying power if the fight drags on. Now, if you've enjoyed the video so far, then please do honor the algorithm gods by absolutely smashing that like button, and maybe subscribe if you haven't already. It would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, when it comes to battle experience, The honey badger is essentially a bar brawler in animal form. It has a curriculum of violence that would make even seasoned predators blush. We are talking about picking fights with black mambas, harassing hyenas, and even locking jaws with lions and leopards as if size were merely a trivial inconvenience. The honey badger's strategy is delightfully simple. Refuse to die, and make the other fellow regret ever being born. It charges, growls, and bites with the kind of reckless abandon that could only be described as both admirable and utterly insane. Larger predators often end up retreating, not out of mercy, but out of sheer exasperation. The badger simply will not yield. It is the sort of attitude one might call positively unbecoming of a gentleman, and yet it works. The Komodo dragon, meanwhile, rules its domain through sheer dominance. As the apex predator of its island ecosystem, it does not need to be fearless. It is the one other animals fear. Komodos regularly ambush and bring down prey many times their size, from deer and wild pigs to water buffalo. They are opportunistic, patient, and calculated. Unlike the honey badger, which thrives on chaos and ferocity, the Komodo dragon uses stealth and power, striking once and letting its victim wear down. In its world, almost nothing challenges it, so the dragon's battle record comes from being a top-tier hunter rather than a scrappy survivor. Now, at last, there is one key component to this scuffle we have not talked about, namely the Komodo's extremely infamous bite. For a long time, people thought it was bacteria doing the killing, but we now know Komodos produce venom, a chemical cocktail that lowers blood pressure, prevents clotting, and sends prey into shock. One bite does not just wound, it turns the victim's own body against itself. It is less a weapon, more a slow-motion death sentence. The honey badger, however, did not earn its legendary status by folding under chemical warfare. This scrappy little gladiator has remarkable resistance to venom, shrugging off doses that would flatten most animals. Cobras, puff adders, even bees, all have tried and failed to make the badger stay down. It sometimes collapses after a bite, only to wake up an hour later and get right back to eating the snake that poisoned it. The real question is whether that resilience would be enough to withstand the Komodo's venom. Could the badger's battle-hardened physiology endure a dragon's toxic bite? Or would even this most stubborn of creatures finally meet its match? On a molecular level, the honey badger's defenses are thought to stem from mutations in its cell receptors, which blunt the effects of certain neurotoxins and hemotoxins. This works beautifully against African snakes, whose venoms are designed to paralyze nerves or destroy blood cells. But Komodo venom is not built on the same blueprint. It works by thinning the blood and dropping blood pressure to catastrophic levels. There is no evidence that the badger's adaptations would stop that process. At best, its tough constitution might buy it some extra time before the effects kick in, allowing it to fight longer than most animals could. At worst, the dragon's venom would bypass the honey badger's natural resistances entirely, proving that even nature's most stubborn little warrior has limits. Anyways, that concludes today's video. If you enjoyed it, I'm sure you'll enjoy some of the others on screen as well. I also want to let you know that we're now back to double uploads, one video every Saturday and one video every Wednesday or Thursday. So if you got any video requests, then let me know in the comments below.